from Boat Model Builders. Just a quick one. I can't stop doing bits and pieces for it. I've just completed the bridge. I had nothing in the bridge, so I've put gear in there, and I'm going to put some lights in there as well. So I thought I might as well finish it off in just small pieces. I've done the fire reels, and what I've done is it's something for you guys. Probably in the ponds, it doesn't really matter when you're using ponds or lakes or fresh water, but this is going out into seawater. And here you can get out so far in 5 minutes. You know, the weather changes quite quick. We're at Port Phillip Bay in Melbourne, Victoria, and so I don't want it to sink, obviously, and no one wants their boats to sink. But just a word, a little tip. I've got some polystyrene, and it was old packing polystyrene I've had up in the workshop for that long and never known. You can't throw it out unless you take it to the tip direct. Here, it's illegal to put in your bins. So what I've done is that I've got a piece here just to show you. It was some old packing that I had. I've got flat pieces and I've got the blocks. So I thought, using the old noggin, I thought, well, why don't I try and make ballast areas, and which I intended to do originally, section off. I've sectioned the motor end of the stern off, so if I got water in the stern, it'll only go up to so far, and it'll be just above the water line. If I get water in the boat, and of course if you get too much, it's going to go to one end, isn't it? So what I've done is that I've built ballasts, and I've put these inside. It's not only just going to stabilise it, but what I'll show you, and people mentioned it the other day online, that they were talking about, oh, you know, if I can't get the ballast right throughout the whole ship, how do I do it? And they thought of the same idea as I did. What you do is you get sealed plastic bags with dry sand, and you get them so big, depending on your boat, of course, and just lay them nice and flat, and then put them across the bottom of the ship, and then work out your ballast. Once it's in a pond or in the water, work out your ballast on your water line, and I'd suggest you try and stick to your water line. I've got a very low water line on this because I've got two keels, and I think if you remember in the first section I came up, the first vlog, is that I explained to you that when I built this, I built a flat bottom to start with, and then what I did is that I put a second section in, which is the keel. So that way I was probably doubling my assurance that if I got water in the keel itself, into the bottom section of the keel, it still wouldn't get into the boat because I've still got that flat bottom. So I hope that's not too complex for you. So flat bottom, and I'm going to do it with any boat I do. I think it's the easiest way. I know you guys, a lot of guys there, you use kits. I don't use kits. This is the difference. I like to build it from anything I can find, any old rubbish, any old scrap. With this new one I'm going to build, I'll probably get a cabin. I might try and build it by hand with a balsa wood or a very light plywood. I'll see how I go. And I've seen some of the work online, and so, credit to some of you blokes, they're unbelievable. But I'm limited here with what tools I've got, and that's what makes my job a lot harder. So it's really hands-on. People will see things on here and they go, oh, you've used that, oh, you've used that. And I've used any rubbish I can find that would resemble anything on a ship, and then I've either carved it or I've reshaped, done something with it. But anyway, apart from that, so what I've done is I've put these in, so because it was a long process, and I've used, and I highly recommend it if you guys never use this. I was in the building trade for many years as well, and it's Sellies, and we used to use it. We used to call it the Sellies 1200. It's a silicon, so any Sellies clear silicon It's totally waterproof, sticks and seals and fills everything, does brick, metal, glass, you name it. We used to use it on glass in the building trade. But it's also a gap filler, and it absolutely, but once it's dry, you'll have a lot of problems getting it back off. So make sure it'll cure overnight. Give it 24 hours. But absolutely fantastic stuff. So anyway, back to this. So this is what I've done. Showing you here. Okay, so I'll show you the bow section. So the bow section, as you can see, is completely now sealed off. So if I get water into the bow, that's as far as it'll go. My water line is about halfway, as you can see on the outside. I haven't got much because I've got a sloping keel, of course. My water line, and I've had it in the water before a long time ago, but the water line's pretty low, and as you can see with these blocks, it's higher than the water line. Okay, not by much, but it's not weighted down. So what I've done is I've cut them, stuck them in silicone, put silicone in on the bottom first, and then also on the foam. And same here, as you can see. Now I've left this one to show you what you have to do once you get it down and push it down. And what we used to call in the trade, you finger it. So you finger your silicone, and it's a messy job, but you can just wipe it off and then go over it afterwards, and then push it back in, and just finger it in so it's smooth, and it gives it a proper seal. Now a lot of people, believe it or not, even in the building trade, they use it and they don't finger it, and you don't get a seal. Now as you can see, there's a motor section, and I've got my sander up the side, so that's well above the water line. This is totally waterproof. Of course the motor's not, but it's up above. I've put a timber one in here, a solid one, because that supports the engine or the motor. And then what I've done is underneath the cabin here, I've put another one. So I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. Sorry, I'll swing that around again. 5 sections of ballast areas. So, like I said before, and I'll just get this off my fingers. It's not the best to work with. If you do get water in there, it's like a normal ship, and that's how they do it. All ships have cordon sections and ballast areas. If you call it ballast, your ballast is usually your water in the bottom keel of your ship, which is pumped from one keel to one part of the keel to the next, which is what you call the ballast. But this section, I'm calling this ballast, it's really not, because it's not completely sealed from the top. But you can see and get the idea, I'm sure. So keep your fingers crossed, of course, because no one wants to see their boat go down in the water. And being polyurethane, of course, it's floatable. So I've got a better chance of the thing not sinking completely. It should never ever sink. It'll go down, but it'll still sit above the water line with all that foam inside of it. So it's gone to waste stuff. It's like I do. I pick up anything, and hopefully it'll all work. So I thought I could just give you a quick vlog on that one. So that's the 2 things that I've done. I've done the cabin. I've just got to get the lights. Hopefully I've got some lights up in the shed. I've got to go and find, and I'll put them into the cabin. All the cabins have got all different colours, if you've seen it when I've had it lit up before. I finished up sealing all these in. Now it's got the plastic, and inside, I don't know if you can see it, a bit hard because of the shade, but it will light up. But inside now I've got all the different, well there you go there, all the different components. So I've just made up a little panel at the back just to trick it up a bit. And of course there's all my electricals now, all way up above waterline. I've got nothing down in the hull of the boat at all. I thought, again, if you do get water, it only takes one wave, one decent wave over the side, and if you've got all your gear sitting, which I've seen in a lot of boats, if you've got all your gear at the bottom, bang, gone. It's over and done with. This way, the only thing that can really do any damage should be the motor. And then again, if you're quick enough and do the right thing, you can probably save your motor. But yeah, I didn't want any electricals whatsoever. So at least if you get a wave in there, get some water in there, you should be able to get it back, motorise it back without any problems. So there you go. So I've just been fiddling around, touching up, doing some more wiring on it. Things that I weren't, as usual, I weren't happy with. And I've done the little fire hose reels now. So I thought, well, fire extinguishers on a gas ship's no good. So I've put the fire hose reels in there. So I've made them up. And all I've done, very simple, fiddly, but yeah, it's done, the job's done, is that I cut out of this, out of a plywood, and I've got some wire, wired it all up, and rolled it up, and then of course normal glue, and then I found for the nozzle, I found wall plugs, so I just cut those in half. As I said, I'll find anything, and they look like the end of the hose, the bridge. That's the main point of the hose. So I thought there's something that looks the same, it does the job. Painted them up, and I think it does the job. So that's it. All right. I've been talking to a few messages. I've got back to a few people. Thank you very much, and thanks for the likes. And don't forget to like it and subscribe for me. That would be great. And we can talk again and come up with some others. I've got some great ideas for the next boat that I've seen with the twin engine. So hopefully the next 2 weeks we're talking about, maybe, possibly, they're going to coronavirus, they're going to drop some of the limitations. So I'm just hoping, because I'm only 50 metres from the beach, it's straight across the road, so I can just drive across there. I need somebody to give me a hand to pick this up, of course, and throw it in the water on a really good day. The other night was absolutely like a mill pond. It was just so beautiful and flat. I was so tempted to take it down, but no, I don't want to break the regulations, and I can't afford the hefty fine. It's you got to do the right thing. So stay home, stay safe. All right, all the best. As I say, stay safe, and God bless, and thank you again. Catch you on the other side. Bye bye. Like a Hellcat.